Hey guys, I'm Danny Gutierrez, and this is the second in our work week series from GuteroTV. What I'm showing you guys today is a little more on the production side of things, more or less. You'll see what I mean in a second here. So, what we're looking at is a session for the song "Locked Out of Heaven." You know the tune by Bruno Mars. Everybody knows the tune. So what it is the band I'm in. We had to record a demo of some songs, video and audio, and so this is the audio for it. Now, I didn't do the recording. Our bass player did. I'm not trying to pass blame on him. It turned out cool. But I say that to say what he sent me was a stereo track. So I don't have like multi-tracks split up of the song, which was cool. I mean, it was what it was. So just give me a different set of circumstances here to work with. So I'm working with a stereo track, which is, I could deal with that. So what I'm doing here, and this is before it gets synced up with video, is, we're just kind of locking down what we have for the audio. What we're doing here, making sure I have these guys turned off first. I'll show you what this is in a second. If you already know, don't tell anybody. So, all right. So this is what we recorded. Skip ahead. You know the song. That's what we recorded live. It was a drums, bass, guitar, lead singer, myself on keys, and that's just straight, push record, and we played it. So what I did, there's a really cool website I'm going to tell you guys about. If you run stems or multitracks, you go to multitracks.com. If you're doing it in church, worship tunes and stuff like that, multitracks.com is the go-to website to purchase all of that stuff. If you didn't know about that, now you know. I don't want to take for granted that everybody knew that, but you should know that because that's the go-to. If you're going to do a song like Locked Out of Heaven, obviously that's not going to be on that website. So I like this website. It's actually karaoke-ish. What's called karaokeversion.com. And they sell recreations. It's not the actual original master tracks, but they're pretty good. Especially, for using them in a live setting. And you can purchase a custom mix. So this is what that sounds like. Really close to the actual song. They even have like a lead vocal. You get the idea if you know the tune. I think we covered that. Everybody knows the tune. It's pretty close stuff. So when we play it, obviously I wasn't playing this sound. I don't know why that's obvious, but I wasn't playing that sound. Pretty big part of the song. So in the same way you would use stems in a church setting or any setting, I'm adding those extra layers on top of what we already recorded, just to fill it out, just to give it that real, make it really sound like the song that it is. A couple of other synth parts that are in there, going to the chorus, that low part. There's also these cool effects, real faint in the background, but if you listen to the original recording, it's all in there. There's also these BGVs. We didn't record that live. Well, Taylor, our lead singer, Taylor, say it like you all know him. You should know him. He did do the grunt sound, but obviously he's one person. So we have it sounding like there's a lot of people now with those stems. So all of that is pretty basic if you understand what stems are and how it works. But I say all that to say I set that up in this session. So now just to add a little bit more polish to what we did, as if adding all those extra keyboard parts wasn't enough, and effect sounds, I added a couple things to our master channel right here. If you're not familiar with what your master channel is, it's called master. Click on it. These are all the effects that are on your master channel. I have these all muted right now. So what I did and this is a pretty this is not revolutionary, odd, or not really reinventing the wheel here with this chain of effects that I have. First thing I have is this SSL compressor. What I do is I set it so it compresses about between 2 and 4 dB, which is actually a little not that transparent. It's actually probably a little more than I should, but I like the way it sounded. So you tweak it. It doesn't really ever go above 4 dB though, so that's cool. The threshold's pretty conservative. If I lowered it, you hear the difference. Yeah, but for what I'm wanting to do, right about there is cool. Right about there is cool. So that's the first thing I throw in there. Second thing I throw in there is this SSL EQ. And I set it up as such because I felt like you couldn't really, felt like the vocals weren't quite as loud as I would like them to be. So I try to pick out the frequency that kind of best displayed those vocals, which is a little tricky to do because they're all on one stereo track, so it's not like I'm just going in and raising the vocal levels. So what I do is, so this is the gain, this is the actual frequency, this is the actual Q, so how narrow or wide the section that you're adjusting is. This is high mid frequency. I'm kind of working in reverse here, so I apologize if this doesn't look familiar, but it's pretty standard and typical. I made a new word. What you would see on an EQ: low frequency, low mids, highs, right there. All right, cool. So what you do is you take this. This is how you would sweep a frequency. If you know how to sweep a frequency, this is old stuff. If you don't, hey, I'm gonna show you. Don't feel bad. So here's the gain. Turn it up all the way. You lower this Q so it's super tight and narrow. If you could see it, it's going. Standard might be like that, and it's going like this, super narrow. And then we're gonna sweep the frequencies. So move it, side to side. So you sweep the frequencies. Now I felt like somewhere around here, which is about 3.7, somewhere between 3 and 5, which that's actually kind of a broad range. Between 3 and 4, that's a good spot to push the to bring out the vocals a little more. There's not a hard, fast rule. That's just the way it sounded to me. You can tell me that I'm wrong, and maybe you're right. But to me, it sounded like that was gonna bring out the lead vocals the most. So I'm gonna take the Q, widen it up a little more to a little more natural sound, right about there, and I'm gonna lower this because anytime you're boosting a frequency, a good rule of thumb is to not really boost more than 3 dB. And actually, a lot of people would boost even less than that if you're trying to make it sound natural. But you hear how subtle it is. You could almost not even perceive the difference. So I'll play it. Now it's on. Now it's off. But I'm convinced that boosts the vocals there. So next in the chain, I have this reverb, Lexicon plate reverb. And I set it really subtle because this is, again, it's going on the master track, so it's I don't want to drown the entire tune in reverb. When adjusting reverb, though, what I do is I set the mix all the way up, and this is just like wet dry on any reverb that you would have. You don't have to do this on a Lexicon reverb. This is basically wet dry. This is completely wet. I gotta turn it on. It's bypassed. This is completely wet. So what I tried to do is I set the reverb time short to simulate a natural room. I wanted it to sound really natural. See, with a higher reverb time, it doesn't really quite sound as natural to me. The reason I set it all the way up, that mix to 100%, is because I'm trying to hear the reverb more or less in isolation. I know it's not real isolation. It just makes it easier to hear. So once you kind of have it dialed in, I actually just pulled up a preset, tweaked the reverb time a little bit, and that's what I had there. You bring it down, you can kind of bring it down all the way and slowly fade it up so you could hear it. Like, yeah, it's really obvious there's reverb there. Really obvious there's reverb. Really obvious there's reverb there. And then dial it back just a hair. So like at 26%, you can really feel it. I'm going to leave it like 21, 22. All it does is it makes it sound like all these sounds took place in the same room. And I like that. Last thing on the chain, and I'm getting close to wrapping it up here. Last thing on the chain is this L2 master. Literally all I do is lower the threshold. This is a limiter. This is kind of a notorious plugin designed to make your sound louder. And you know, those of us that aren't real trained engineers like myself, we just like things loud. Real engineers might cringe at the way I use this, but hey, I apologize. So as you lower the threshold, it gets louder.